Hello, welcome to our event today. My name is Michael Berry. I am the director of the Center for Chinese Studies at UCLA. And today it's our great pleasure to welcome director Shen Yu, who has just completed her first feature film, Old Town Girls. 申宇导演您好，谢谢您抽空来参加这次对谈了。The three characters that you just mentioned, they all have very different personalities. They're very different motivations in terms of how these characters are portrayed. And so I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about these characters, and especially when you started to shoot and how you collaborated with the actors to make each one appear so vividly and uniquely on screen, and your collaboration with these actors in realizing the characters. 接下来我的问题是，你这部电影里头的主要角色，他们的那个性格和动机都非常的鲜明，而且每个角色好像都很不一样，很有个性吧？那你如何去塑造这些角色？这个曲婷学清金熙跟马月月这四个角色。而且到了要拍摄的时候，你又如何去跟这些演员去沟通，去实现他们在荧幕上的，就是你想达到的那样的一个表现？谢谢。
首先其实就是最主要就是这一对儿母女的关系，就是妈妈和女儿。实际上，我会有两个设定，就一个就是其实把他们当做情侣去写，对。然后另外一个其实就是母女关系，它是实现一种倒置，就是女儿更有能动性，她更是主动的去做了某些事情，然后那个妈妈她其实是一个逃避者，一个没有责任感的，发生事情，她第一选择会是选择一个逃避性的这么一个，嗯。为什么要去做这样的一个设定？因为就是他们其实和常规的母女关系其实是不一样的。其实他们除了血缘关系以外，其实完全是两个陌生人，在16年里边，他们没有任何的交流。对于这个母亲来说，她其实对这个女儿是有疏离感的，因为她没有在她的成长过程中一直陪伴。对她来说其实就是一个陌生的小女孩儿。那对于这个女儿来说，这个妈妈其实是想象中的母亲，因为她没有在身边，因为她很渴望，这个得不到的别人都有的母爱的东西，所以她会在她的一个幻想世界里把这个母亲无限的美化。所有这个母亲做的不对的事情，包括甚至于抛弃她这件事情，她都会在自己的想象中给他一个合理的解释，就是他会为母亲去开脱，所以就是会形成了他们这种母女关系的一个倒置的一个状态。这其实也是另外一方面，我会觉得，就是在我们现在的这个时代里边儿，可能我们的这个多样化的文化，包括游戏啊，这些所有的动画片啊，其实我们这一代人的成长，可能跟我的母亲和我的外婆那一代的中国女性其实已经完全不一样。所以很难再会有这种传统意义上的妈妈就是一切为了孩子，可能越来越关注到自己本身想要什么。所以我就是塑造了曲婷的这么一个形象吧。
I should start with in the screenplay with the mother-daughter relationship, because that's really one of the core relationships here. And one of the things that I tried to do that was fairly unique was to look at the relationship between the mother and daughter almost as if they're lovers. And so that's a very untraditional and idiosyncratic way to look at a mother-daughter relationship. And so I had the daughter kind of take the lead in the relationship, whereas the mother's characteristic is to run away and always avoid responsibility, avoid reality. And in terms of their relationship, that created a very unique design in terms of how we were putting this together. And that's also the result of the history of this relationship, that they had been estranged for so many years. For 16 years, the mother was not present in the daughter's life. And so when they finally are reunited after all of this time, for the mother, her daughter is basically a stranger. But for the daughter, she's projecting all of her fantasies about this imaginary mother onto this woman who has reappeared. And it's because of that fantasy that she's able to psychologically forgive all of the mother's faults and all of her problems and come up with explanations that make everything that's actually very wrong seem okay. And so these are all of the kind of psychological factors that we went into that relationship. There's also something I think really interesting about the age that they're living in, because this is an age where computer games and cartoons and all these kind of more modern things are coming into people's lives. And it's fundamentally changing the traditional relationship between a mother and a daughter. For instance, my mother and her mother, my grandmother, the relationship they had is very different than what I had with my mother. And that's because in this contemporary era, all of these new technologies are coming in and they're chipping away at the traditional relationship that I think motherhood has played in society. And I think more and more women are thinking about what they want for themselves, as opposed to that spirit of I'll sacrifice anything for my kids, which had really dominated mother-daughter relationships for so many generations. I think we're seeing a very different turn now.